Welcome aboard the BK Escape Pod. That's right, it's the augmented and bionic podcast version of the live show you can hear Saturdays from 10 a.m. till 12 p.m. Eastern on 100.3 FM and AM 1450 WBHF Radio. You can stream the show live there Saturdays at WBHFradio.org or on the free Tunein app. Look out, here we go. Hello there, this is BK on the air, here to tell you that if you hear the telephone number, please don't call, because this is a rebroadcast.
Any questions?
Yeah, I got a question. Does Barry Manilow know that you raid his wardrobe?
Give you the answer to that question, Mr. Bender, next Saturday. Don't mess with the bull, young man. You'll get the horns.
Stand by to receive our transmission.
You know, I've got so much to talk about today. I have no idea how I'm going to get to all of it. I really don't. I mean, I've got people to thank, stuff to talk about. I've watched things. There's things coming out due to the Star Wars celebration that they just had, or it may be still be going on. I don't know how long that Star Wars celebration goes on for, but there's so many things that they announced, many things that they didn't announce, stories that I've got, upcoming movies. I've just printed off the new. Now, it's not every movie coming out for the rest of this year. It's just movies that fit the template of what we like to talk about, that we're interested maybe in seeing.
No, I want you to talk
out,
about,
so.
the next Hercule Poirot movie.
The which one?
Hercule Poirot.
Or the latest.
Well, you said you liked Death on the Nile.
I did. Kenneth Branagh puts enough polish on these films to make them interesting for me to watch. He really does. He puts his own stamp, which, we're fans of his.
We are.
And plus he stars as Poirot as well.
He is Poirot.
And that's, he's a French character, so you should really like him.
Hey.
What?
Yes. Sure.
Hey, do your mom proud now. You know better than that. Come on. You cannot deny your French heritage.
Yes, I do like
French
the March
Canadian
in the
heritage. That's okay. We let you in America. It's okay. You came out. Well, you are American. So
I'm American.
You were born here. Have you ever been to Canada?
I've been in Canada a lot.
Do you still have relatives up there? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you've been up there in
lots
the area.
of family.
And your mom speaks fluent French.
French Canadian.
Probably how she got your dad to go out with her or something like that.
I want to know more. The older get,
do you really?
No. Well, here's the thing. The older I get, the more I realize the stories that were told when I was a kid don't connect to the truth.
Well, don't we find out a lot about that as we get older? I hate that.
I swear you told me. I never told you that. Yes, you did.
I hate that. Or you find out that it's not the story that you were told; it's something completely different.
Yes. You find out you got a highly sanitized or alternative version.
And now, as my mom grows into her 70s and becomes a little more her one thing that's happened, her filter between her brain and her mouth is completely gone. She's like, well, told a story about her and my dad back when they were going out. And I'm like, thanks, Mom, for sharing that. And I'm an adult now, but, I really did not need to hear that. I mean, I know I'm a 56-year-old adult, but it's coming from you, and I still didn't need to hear that.
There are times where I go,
I don't know.
I need a shower and I need to think about steel wool to scrub my brain for about an hour.
And to look into my background to see if I'm adopted. I really need to find that out. So, hey, it's BK on the air here. That's just a little bit of the goofy stuff that we do. We will get around to the actual subjects that we like to talk about. It's nostalgic geekiness talk radio, plus a lot of other fun stuff. Just let me run down just what I've got to talk about here today. First of all, let me thank Ian Carlin with Retro Serial. I don't know if anybody or a lot of people that follow me on social media got to see the live YouTube video that we did, but he first did an interview with me about a couple of weeks ago about retro stuff and mostly educational television. We were talking about Mr. Rogers, Sesame Street, Electric Company, Zoom, Big Blue Marble, Mulligan Stew. Name the old show that you grew up with in the 70s and 80s.
Not like Schoolhouse Rock, but more
Schoolhouse Rock. We hit on a lot of those too, because there were more shorts, but they did fall in that category. Talked about that, and then we did a live. They do a live chat now on YouTube where a lot of people go on and they're live chatting as they're on talking about it. And we were on his live show doing that this past week. That's Retro Serial. Check him out on YouTube. Got a great YouTube channel talking about educational television. And we shared a lot. I found out a lot of these shows, depending on where you lived, and you and I have talked about this. You grew up in Michigan. I grew up in Alabama. We couldn't have been further away culturally. And,
No.
We could have been from New York to California. That would have been further. But we were still far away from Michigan to Alabama as far as culture. And sounds like syndicated shows were different, too, in certain places. Mm-hmm. And I was mentioning, I mentioned Zoom. We're going to Zoom. It was a Zoom children's show from the original one ran from the early 70s to like the early 80s, I think, and they changed it. But he had never heard of that one.
I haven't.
So I sent him a link to it, and again, it was a show that got syndicated in a lot of places. Obviously, not all places. So, talked to him about that. But we did share the same, stories about. Oh, I loved this about Sesame Street, and when the Muppets would do this, and when they would teach me how to do this, and Big Bird had Mr. Snuffleupagus that only he could see, and the kids couldn't see. And I had to break the news to him that Sesame Street changed that later. They thought, well, this isn't good for kids to have a friend that no one else can see, so we're going to make it where everyone can see Mr. Snuffleupagus. I'm like, thanks, you just ruined it. That was a great story, you just ruined it by doing that. So, Electric Company, probably my favorite kids show growing up was The Electric Company. Morgan Freeman's where he got his start. The legendary actress and singer Rita Moreno, who was in West Side Story. And I understand she's in the new West Side Story from Steven Spielberg. She has a role in it, too, and she's been in hundreds of films and had a great career where she was on The Electric Company, and that's where I knew her from. I didn't know she was a classic actress before that. And then Morgan Freeman wasn't a classic actor, went on to be one after The Electric Company, so played Easy Reader on the Electric Company. So, and Mr. Rogers, we're talking about how Fred Rogers just didn't talk down to us as kids. When you watched it, even when you were a little kid, he never talked down to you. He kind of just talked to you.
Right.
And it was the show where I learned a lot of things, where he would show us things aren't really always the way you think it is. We hit on an episode where Mr. Rogers had on his episode Margaret Hamilton, the lady who played the Wicked Witch of the West in The Wizard of Oz. He had her show up, as herself, showing kids she's not a witch, she's not evil, she's an actress, and she just plays her on the screen. Here she is, and here's the costume that she wore. See, it's separate, and he would show us that as kids. He would pull the curtain down. The guy behind the curtain.
Ignore that man.
He would show us that, and then he would take the trolley into the world of make-believe and see King Friday and the owl and the little tiger and Lady Elaine and all that. Love that, too. Isn't it funny how you can compare that with Sesame Street? How many times over entertainment history did puppets and Muppets help us learn? They were crucial in a lot of things. Mm-hmm. These little fake cloth-made things that creative people bring to life, but with their voices and with their hands,
And this goes all the way back to Shakespeare's day, the Punch and Judy
with
shows.
Puppets, yeah, that's right. Kukla, Fran, and Ollie. I don't know where you remember them, but they were a little dragon and a little bald-headed character that would host a Saturday show with the children's movies and stuff like that. They were very popular for a while. And what's the lady's name that had Lamb Chop, the little lamb? Sherry Lewis.
Yes,
had the little lamb chop puppet that would talk and stuff. So
was it Lily Tomlin was on Electric Company with the big reading chair?
She was on Laugh-In with the big reading chair. That was actually on Laugh-In. Yeah, because she's playing the little girl and That's the Truth.
Yeah, exactly.
That was Laugh-In.
Okay, that was Laugh-In.
Yeah. But it was kind of a little kid moment there on Laugh-In. So we talked a lot of that. So big thanks to Ian Carlin with Retro Serial for that. And a big and let me cut out another kudo thanks. Eddie Bruce at Rockin' Shop, right down the few doors down from us here at WBHF. Vintage records and items in there. Was able to find me an Electric Light Orchestra Out of the Blue album from 1977, and I went down and picked it up and bought it. Great price. I appreciate him doing that for me. I knew that I'd mentioned it to him, so now I have another vintage copy of Electric Light Orchestra's Out of the Blue, one of their biggest, most successful albums, and I'm a big fan of them anyway, thanks to Eddie Bruce. Got that album, original artwork, original spaceship on the inside, never been put together, so it really was all together and almost in mint condition. I appreciate that. Speak down there. We had a lot more to do and more news when we come back.
Ooh, I love this song. What was that?
It's Out of the Blue, the ELO album.
Electric Light Orchestra on Jet Records and Tapes. Distributed by CBS Records.
Mommy, I want a drink. Mommy, can I have a glass of juice, please? Mommy, give me some milk. I'm thirsty. Give me a glass of anything.
Wouldn't it be nice if your children could get their own drinks without interrupting you? With a Dixie kitchen dispenser, they can. And your kitchen won't be cluttered with between-meal glasses to wash. Get Dixie, the kitchen cup that lets kids help themselves. And that can be a big help to you.
Mommy, I got my own juice. Now can I have a peanut butter sandwich?
Shut up.
Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. We all know and love the legendary Don Knotts, the 5-time Emmy Award winner from The Andy Griffith Show. But did you realize he was also a successful movie star and decorated war veteran? Don's first movie appearance just happened to be alongside his future TV co-star Andy Griffith in the 1958 comedy No Time for Sergeants. In 1963, he had a cameo in one of my all-time favorites, United Artists' It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. After landing a 5-film contract with Universal Pictures, he did The Ghost in Mr. Chicken in 1966, The Reluctant Astronaut in 67, The Shakiest Gun in the West in 68, The Love God in 1969, and How to Frame a Fig in 71. He had other memorable roles, such as 1979's The Apple Dumpling Gang and 1998's Pleasantville. Yet one of Don's most enduring roles was 1964's The Incredible Mr. Limpet. In the live-action animated classic, his character becomes a World War II hero as a fish. Well, the fact is, Don Knotts participated in the 1945 real-life liberation of the Philippines, bringing home multiple commendations. The list includes a World War II Victory Medal, a 4-star Asiatic Pacific Campaign Medal, the Philippine Liberation Medal, an Army Good Conduct Medal, an Honorable Service Lapel Pin, and most ironically, an Army Marksman's Badge. It appears Deputy Fife only really needed the one bullet after all. This is Pat McCormick with your retro TV trivia from the Golden Rage of TV. You can also find me on YouTube and Facebook at Golden Rage of TV and on Twitter at Golden Rage of TV1. And now back to BK on the air.
Thank you, Pat. Don Knotts. He's probably one of the funniest guys in Hollywood. I mean, if you think about everything he's been in, it's what Pat was just talking about there, Golden Rage of TV. Andy Griffith Show, obviously. Then he left the Andy Griffith Show to pursue his movie career. Mm-hmm. And for me, the Andy Griffith Show suffered because of it, because they tried to replace him with another deputy guy that was he was a comedian too, but he just wasn't as funny as Don Knotts, who is. I mean, as far as all of that physical, those facial features and those reactions that he would do. He went on to be in a bunch of Ghost in Mr. Chicken, the Incredible Mr. Limpet, where he turns into the fish and the animated stuff. He had a big, wonderful movie career, and for a long time, he was in movies with Tim Conway. In the 70s, they were kind of teamed up and did stuff, which was great.
And then
from Disney.
Again.
Right. And then what else he do? I mean, he went on to, and we covered it, Three's Company as Mr. Furley. He replaced the Ropers in Three's Company. So Don Knotts was hilarious. Andy Griffith did say that. He said, Andy Griffith Show started out, I tried to be the funny guy, and then I noticed right off the bat that I was not the funny guy. I'll just be the straight guy, and he'll be the funny guy. and that's what's worked. So kudos to Don Knotts. Now, I was talking to you earlier this morning about something that kind of intrigued you, and I told you there is and I'll get some of these other things I did this weekend, but I want to cover this right now while it's fresh on my mind, because you know me, I'll forget it and have to put it on Facebook when I said, I should have talked about that live. There is an anime show, television series,
I'm interested.
That's actually going to be turned into a live-action series. I think it's on Apple TV, if I think is the streaming service. So the show that's coming out on Apple TV, and I got to find the story here, and I'll do it after I tease it with this. Now, a lot of people haven't heard that, or have if you're a big anime fan. That's the original Japanese title sequence to Mach a Go-Go. That's Speed Racer. Speed Racer. That's the show that I'm talking about that's going to be a live-action show. I have the article here. By the way, when you were talking while we were playing that, the live-action Speed Racer movie that came out a few years ago.
You say it may be almost 20 years now.
Well, has it been? Well, you know me. we get to where like, wasn't that just a couple of years ago? No, that was a couple of dozen years ago.
Sure, a couple of decades.
I hadn't seen it in the theater, and it went to the budget theaters.
Theater.
And actually, this was less. There's a theater in Marietta for a long time that had 50-cent Tuesdays. Tuesdays, they were running, second or third run films, and it was for 50 cents. Now, they made their money, obviously, from concessions when you went in there. The problem is, the movie was 50 cents. Bucket of popcorn was $29.95. That's how they made their money, and I understood that. When I went in there and I sat down and we watched this Speed Racer live-action film, we are 40, maybe 45 minutes. Now, my general rule for a movie is 30 minutes. If you can't get me interested in 30 minutes of your film, you should not take more than 30 minutes to get me in to make me want to watch the rest of it. I extended it on this one. 30 minutes went by. Oh, my goodness. And 45 minutes hit, and I leaned over. I think it was Commander Clark I saw it with. I leaned over and I said, if we leave now, we won't lose 2 hours of our lives sitting here, and we're only out 50 cents.
Right.
It's awful. It's enough to make a boy and a girl leave a drive-in movie.
I'd walk out on that picture even on an airplane.
Let's get the heck out of here. So we left.
It was that bad.
It was that bad. And some people may enjoy it. I think maybe little kids might have enjoyed it. But it was really, really bad. Because I was excited. I'm like, a live-action movie about Speed Racer. I like Speed Racer. Mrs. BK loves Speed Racer. I can't start singing the song without her having to finish it. She's like, if I start singing the song and hear it, I got to sing it the whole way through because she loves it. Well, I've got the story here from Variety, of all places. Speed Racer live action in the works. A Speed Racer live action, yep, it is Apple TV, with J.J. Abrams on board as executive producer of this show, believe it or not. I'm surprised you hadn't heard about this. Apple has been given bad car. Apple has been given the project, which has been in the works for a considerable amount of time, for a series. Ron Fitzgerald and Hiram Martinez are attached to write and executive produce, in addition to serving as co-showrunners. Abrams will executive produce under his Bad Robot album. Warner Brothers Television is the studio where Bad Robot is under an overall deal. Speed Racer follows, as we know, the adventures of auto racer Speed Racer and his souped-up car, the Mach 5. His team consists of his father, a car builder, Pops Racer, his little brother, Spritle, and his pet chimpanzee, Chim Chim, and Speed's girlfriend, Trixie. Well, they were all in the animated show. I don't know if they're going to be in this one. Speed also frequently crosses paths with the mysterious Racer X. Do you remember Racer X?
I honestly never watched Speed Racer. I was only aware of the...
Racer X was secretly his brother, and he did not know that, which was a part of the story, I think. He may have found out later.
Spoiler alert.
That's right.
Ruin it.
40 years ago.
50.
45. No, that'd be 50 years ago, yeah. This will be the second live-action version of the iconic Japanese character. Yeah, the second one. Following the 2008 film. That's when it came out. And it was directed by the Wachowski brothers, was the original one that directed. Don't they usually do better movies than that, I think?
I don't know. Matrix 4 was terrible. So
didn't they do the Johnny Depp movie where he's... what was it? Where he was the detective in the 18th century or something? What was that called?
Oh no, that's the Farrelly brothers.
So it's a different brothers. Okay,
yeah,
gotcha. All right, I'm mixing them up. I knew it was the brothers
based off
or
the
whatever.
Comic book on
then we got right.
Jack the Ripper.
Then we got the Coen brothers. We got a lot of brother directors.
Mm-hmm. Well, now the Wachowskis are sisters.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I misspoke. I'm sorry. Speed Racer originated...
They were brothers, but now sisters.
Speed Racer originated as a manga series created by Tatsuo Yoshida in the 1960s under the title Mach Go Go Go. It was then adapted into an anime series that debuted in the United States in 1967. That's when we got to see it over here as Speed Racer. The show proved incredibly popular stateside. It sure did, and it's credited with helping to popularize anime in our country. It really did. It was the first series to make that big crossover. I know that Astro Boy did first in the early 60s, late 50s, but Speed Racer really did it.
Felix the Cat? Because that was also...
Felix was not anime. It was just a
really?
Translux. I can't remember who the animators were for that, but it was American as far as I can remember.
It had a very anime feel.
It was really odd. Of course, I could be wrong.
Or was it Kimba? Kimba the Magical...
I think that was anime.
That was anime.
Yeah, over 50 episodes of the original series were produced with an English language version of a Japanese remake airing on Nickelodeon beginning in 2002. I forgot about that updated one they did. Now, you and I talked before about how, depending on where you live, and I spoke earlier about educational TV when I was on with the Retro Serial, how some people got to see some shows and some didn't, depending on where you lived. Mm-hmm. You got to see a show growing up that I did not get to see, which was a live-action show called Johnny Soko and His Flying Robot.
Yep.
Now, later on, I learned about that show. Many years later, it was never played in my market growing up. I had shows that maybe you didn't see, called Space Giant, Spectre Man, and Ultraman. You remember Ultraman?
I had Ultraman, but we didn't have
But
Space
we had
Giant.
Space Giants and others. But Johnny Soko was shown where you grew up. It wasn't showed in the Alabama area that I grew up as a kid. So, yeah, we got Speed Racer coming as a television series, live action on Apple TV. 770-386-1450 is our number. And, oh, my goodness, someone is calling in right now. Hey, it's BK on there. Hello.
So they're remaking Speed Racer. Okay. With J.J. Abrams, right?
He's executive producing it, so I don't know what that means exactly.
I might watch it. I might get Apple just for this. I'm sending Alan another picture.
Okay.
Oh, okay. All right. You do that. Thanks, Eric.
You haunted
Bye.
me. You haunted me all last week. It was that picture of what's her face, the actress who played Morticia in the Addams Family, and now she looks like some monster who ate.
Angelica Houston.
Angelica, yes.
Yeah.
He sent me that picture. I'm like, there's no way that's a human being. That's a craft. That's a monster.
Imagine her being on the flight with you in the plane, propping her feet
Taking
up
her feet up.
from the back of your seat, because we know how you feel about feet and stuff.
I would have a heart attack, a stroke, and an aneurysm all at the same time.
I still think that there was some incident with feet with you as a child that you've repressed that just makes you horrifically against them. I think that's what it is.
That was a pretty horrific
Maybe
moment.
during the commercial break we could talk about it.
And now, this message.
This boy is running out of steam. Why did he run out of steam so soon? He didn't fuel up. With a good breakfast. Cheerio! Like this good, nutritious breakfast with toast, juice, milk, and yummy Cheerios, which has almost no sugar. When you fuel up in the morning with a Cheerios breakfast,
it'll really get you going.
Cheerio!
Hershey
Real milk chocolate, I love that Hershey bar.
Hershey
That's something special no matter where you are.
Anytime you want delicious chocolate, there's no need to go looking very hard.
Hershey's great!
'Cause Hershey is the great American chocolate bar.
We now return to our program.
Yeah, if I can just find what's going on here in the studio, I got to move.
Why start now?
Thanks a lot for that vote of confidence in me. I sure do appreciate it.
You give everybody has this guise that you have everything charted out and planned. Okay.
Sometimes, but I printed out the audience flashes before. I have this problem.
It's on your printer. You left it at home.
Hold on, let me look. I got the flash.
You're not even in the microphone.
Sing something.
There you go.
for me.
Sing something.
Can you sing a song? That way everybody will quit listening.
Sing is actually instrumental. Glenn Miller.
Oh, really? Is that one of Glenn Miller's songs?
Yeah, they redid it for 1941 John Williams version in the fight in the bar.
Oh, here it is. I found it. It was stuck. It's stuck against a page. So that's
I'm not going to ask why.
Yeah. I had pancakes for breakfast.
So you had
Get your mind out of the drugstore. What's the matter with you? Well, it is that interesting time that we like to.
Sure.
It almost wasn't. I would have had to do them live off the
that'd
internet.
Be a great movie title. The time that almost wasn't.
Was that a real? Wasn't that one?
I don't know.
I remember the
land.
Like the land that time forgot. I remember that one.
It could be a Twilight Zone episode. But anyway.
Could be. Yeah.
You know what? Let's get this going. I've got the first news.
Thank goodness.
All right. UPI, a 70-year-old Pakistani man, broke a Guinness World Record by using his hands to crush.
What did he use his hands to crush?
He crushed 21 apples in 1 minute.
Thank you. Come again. Hey, that's hard. I don't think I could crush an apple. I could crush an apple if it had been sitting there for 6 months, but not just holding it. I don't know. I couldn't do it. No,
I've never tried to, but can you imagine how strong your hands, the muscles, to crush an apple?
I'm imagining it now. It's incredibly strong.
I crush your head if you keep making fun of my voice. Nasim Uddin, age 70. He's 70!
And crushing an apple.
Whose son, Mohammed Rashid, is a martial artist with 70 Guinness World Records, earned a record of his own by using his grip strength to crush 21 apples.
Not just one apple.
Rashid bested the previous record of 13, which had been set in England. Udine told Guinness World Records his grip strength comes from years of working with iron as a welder. Well, there you go.
Well, you know what they say, an apple a day keeps the carpal tunnel syndrome away.
That guy goes to shake your hands, and next thing you know, you have no knuckles.
I'm not shaking hands with him, yeah. That's Nassim. Do not shake hands with him.
Do not.
You won't have a hand left.
Nassim, the knee breaker.
I have the next news.
Let's turn you into powder, you little man.
Again from UPI. Authorities in Georgia are warning members of the public to be on the lookout for 2 patus monkeys on the loose in a county near Savannah.
Oh, okay.
Did you hear about this?
No, I didn't.
Not exactly our backyard, but just southeast of us toward the coast. The Effingham County Sheriff's Office said
I do like Effingham. I'm always thinking that they shortened it down because they couldn't say the F word.
Right, especially not down there, yeah. Sheriff's deputies received a call reporting 2 monkeys on the loose. Quote, it sounded like a scene from Jumanji, but it was not. There are, in fact, 2 patus monkeys on the loose in North Effingham. Effingham.
Past the
Sheriff's
Effingham.
Office said.
And those damn potatoes, too.
Effing monkeys. The monkeys are legally owned by an Effingham resident. The sheriff's office
You're never going to hear it the same
Nope.
again.
The Georgia Department of Natural Resources was contacted to help capture the loose primates. 2 more monkeys are on the loose in Georgia as well, and last seen in the studios of WBHF in Cartersville right here. So, yeah. Just read the next Effingham story, will you?
I've got the next Effingham news. Right. Flash. Thing.
Thank you.
Something or other. A British man who works as a school teacher in Spain earned a Guinness World Record when he freestyle rapped for 39 hours, 37 minutes, and 54 seconds.
Wow, that must have been heck on his hands and his wrist to rap a lot. You know, like for gift called a generational rap.
I know Vanilla Ice was a thing, but that was more of an aberration.
Vanilla Ice was never a thing, in my opinion. Did I ever tell you we tried to watch that movie he had called
Ice Baby?
Yeah, the movie he did. We were going to watch it just to make fun of it back when it first came out on VHS. We're like, let's just rent it and pop popcorn and just laugh and just make fun of this because it's going to be so bad. It wound up being so bad that we couldn't watch it. We couldn't even make fun of it.
Words of wisdom. Drop that 0 and get with the hero.
That's one of those movies where it was horrible.
All right. Well,
Terrible.
Daniel Alcon, age 35, who uses the stage name Dalcon,
a rapper,
took on the Guinness record for longest rap marathon individual in Valencia, Spain. Alcon, who previously fell an hour short of the world record in 2021's attempt, freestyled for 39 hours, 37 minutes, 54 seconds, successfully now capturing the record.
I guess that's hard to do, I guess. I mean, anything to that extent would be hard to do.
I mean, talking for 39 hours would be tough already. But you imagine freestyle rapping?
No, I can't even imagine that.
Are you allowed to repeat yourself?
By the way, when we're here at the studio, we can see outside on the sidewalk because we have windows here seeing in downtown Cartersville. It's both fun and torturous when they have doggies out there because Alan and I love dogs so much that we love to look at the dogs while we're on the air because we are like, oh, look at the cute little 2 doggies out there.
Yeah.
We love that.
They look like Chihuahua Beagle
To get my mind off of them, I'll do the next news. An Alabama couple who spotted the main body of a helicopter on Facebook Marketplace decided to buy the aircraft and convert it into a camper. Blake Morris and Maggie Morton, both U.S. Coast Guard helicopter pilots stationed in Mobile, down on the coast, saw the helicopter body for sale from a Florida man on Facebook Marketplace. Morris said he came up with the idea of converting the retired aircraft, which had formerly been used by the German military police and the U.S. military, into a camper. The couple started an Instagram account to document the process of building the helicamper. The pair said they were even able to track down some photos of the helicopter being used in Germany. That's kind of cool. But could you imagine camping in this thing? It's like, hey, can you put the fire out so we can go hike? Okay, let's go hiking, but don't forget your backpack. What? Don't forget your backpack. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think that would be hard to do if you think about it.
All right, I've got the last news.
Oh, we may not have time for it, but go ahead.
I'm going to say thank God then. From UPI, officials had a ceremony Monday for removal of the last public payphone in New York City.
There was a payphone in New York still?
A phone
recently?
stall in New York City. The payphone was removed with a crane from a sidewalk located 7th Avenue and 50th Street, Midtown Manhattan, just south of Times Square, marking what officials called the end of the payphone era. Officials said it was the last public payphone in the city, but there are still privately owned payphones. You had a story on one, didn't you?
The guy had. Yeah, it wasn't New York, though.
But there are still privately owned payphones and 4 permanent full-length Superman phone booths. The city began removing the payphones in 2015 as they became obsolete, replacing them with Wi-Fi hotspots.
Okay, that makes sense.
In 2014, there were more than 6,000 active public payphone telephones on city sidewalks, according to the city website. They were originally slated to be removed in 2020, but the process took longer than expected. City officials said on the website that the public payphones, which provided free access to 911 and 311 non-emergency services, were still being used for regular calls.
What is 311, I wonder?
I don't know.
I'll have to look that up in New York.
But their usage, by the way, had gone way down in the last several years.
I imagine so. It amazed me. I'm in the midst of watching Adam 12 now. I just watched Dragnet. Now I'm watching Adam 12, the original series, all the way through. Just how it's changed. Those cops are driving around with only a radio, but when they were in someone's home or something and they needed to call the precinct, you had to use the people's phone whose house they were stuck at, or a payphone. That's just the way it was in the late 60s, early 70s. It's changed a lot on phones, good or bad.
All right, now you listen to me, boy. You can take this as a warning or a piece of advice any way you want it. You and your friends keep on playing punk gangsters, and we're going to land on you hard. You understand?
And now, these messages.
When you need a little lift, but you just can't take a break, chew Wrigley's Spearmint Gum.
The cool, refreshing feeling of Wrigley's Spearmint Gum puts a little lift in everything you do. That nice, fresh flavor, that crisp, clean taste, that Wrigley's Spearmint pickup is going for you. Wrigley's Spearmint Gum really keeps you humming. Wrigley's Spearmint Gum keeps you humming along. Wrigley's Spearmint Gum really keeps you humming.
16 million times a day, people everywhere enjoy a refreshing little lift chewing Wrigley's Spearmint Gum. The cool, refreshing flavor that keeps you humming.
It picks you up, it keeps you going. That spearmint feeling's coming through. That little lift, it gives you, puts a hum in everything you do. Wrigley's Spearmint Gum really keeps you humming. Wrigley's Spearmint Gum keeps you humming along. Wrigley's Spearmint Gum really keeps you humming.
Now you see it, now you don't. Here you have it, here you won't. Oh, Diet Pepsi, 1 small calorie. Now you see it, now you don't. That great Pepsi taste. Diet Pepsi won't go to your waist. So now you see it, now you don't. Oh, Diet Pepsi, 1 small calorie. Now you see it, now you don't.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
Hey, we're back. It's BK on the air here on AM 1450 and 100.3 FM WBHF. You can stream us on the website, WBHFradio.org, or download the free Tunein or Radio Garden app and listen to us that way. Just search for WBHF Radio. You'll find a way to do it anywhere, any way that you can. 770-386-1450 is our number if you want to call and chime in on what we're talking about, or just chew the fat, or just talk, or take me to task on something, whatever you feel like.
Got to say hi to the folks outside looking in.
It's
Hello.
totally hey, he's got a Costa Rica cap on. I love that place. Costa Rica's a fun place to hang out.
It's happening.
You are outside the way you live in Costa Rica, you're telling me, Rudy? That's
not a bad place to live.
That's a beautiful place right there. Watch out for the whole dinosaur Jurassic Park thing, because that's where that all happened down there. Isla Sorda and down in that area.
Yeah. Not anymore.
Okay. That's awesome.
We'll see. Hey,
I'm trying my best to read her lips, and I can't read her lips. I don't know what she's saying, but that's awesome.
You know,
Costa
the glass,
Rica,
the only noise that the glass doesn't stop from getting in here is the train.
And thank
everybody else, I can't hear a word you're saying.
And thank goodness for that, because if the train noise went away, we would. I think we're so used to it that we really would kind of miss it. We're like, because it's such a part of this station.
It is.
It's a part of
It
downtown.
becomes the fabric of the show sometimes.
That's right. Sometimes you're like, oh, and every now and then I randomly play a train horn sound effect for no reason whatsoever. Why do you play that train all the time? I don't know. It just seems like the right thing to do. I have one more. Well, I guess you could classify this technically on this show as a news flash. This one's kind of interesting. It comes from Oak Bluffs, Massachusetts. This is from the AP. I don't know if you heard about this or not. You and I are big Jaws fans. We love Jaws.
You might say so.
If you and I and Walt were to examine Jaws 1 minute at a time, I know it's been done, but we would do it differently in our own way, and we'd be really good at it. And I really don't think I'd have to watch it. I mean, we could just watch it and have it in the studio.
For a fact,
but we could just do it.
I don't think that it'll come out because of some other technical issues, but
right.
I was on a Jaws podcast discussion.
Right.
And the person was like, "Did you do any research?" I'm like, why? Like, well, you're not looking at any notes. I'm like, I don't need to.
The notes are in my head.
Like, how do you do it? I'm like,
Jaws is part of our DNA.
Do you understand? I have not only seen the movie well over 100 times,
right.
I've seen every documentary more than once.
Yep. And just for the fun of it, sometimes you watch Jaws backwards with the scan button, just for the heck of it.
I do.
We watch
People
it upside
get put
down.
Back together.
You watch it upside down, sitting on your head, because you want to see what it looks sharkless like upside down. We've seen it every way possible. And on every format that it's been released on.
And that's sad, too. I mean, I will tell you, I know it's a problem.
Yeah, it is a problem.
There is a bit of a...
What do you think I was thinking when I watched Star Trek The Motion Picture in the theater this past weekend? Because I know that movie left and right, up and down, diagonally, right side up, whatever, upside down. I'm picking out every little nuance in it that's different, and I'm having to sit on my hands and put duct tape over my mouth in the theater to keep from going,
that's new. Hey, that's new. Did you see that? That's completely different. That sound wasn't there.
I'm saying it in my head, but I really did enjoy it. But I'll get to that in a minute. A man who was a child had a brief...
Yes, that's how that works.
That's how this whole thing starts. Had a brief but key role in Jaws, has been named police chief on the Massachusetts island on which the 1975 movie was partially filmed.
No, I have not heard this. That is a cool
Jonathan
story.
Searle, who was offered the job of police chief in Oak Bluffs on Martha's Vineyard, it was a couple of weeks ago. Quote, I'm clearly elated and I'm humbled and honored to have been offered the position, unquote. He said, currently a sergeant with the Edgartown Police. He told that to the Vineyard Gazette, which first reported the appointment. The movie centers on the efforts of a police chief, as we know, in Jaws, a fictional resort town, trying to rid the local waters of a killer shark. Scenes were filmed in various locations on Martha's Vineyard. In the movie, this guy, Searle, I think his S-E-A-R-L-E is his last name, played one of the two boys who sent beachgoers into a panic by swimming around with a fake shark fin in the water.
Those are the two kids? So he's one of them?
He's one of the kids.
He made me do it. He told me to do it.
Now, his father was a police chief in Edgartown, takes over in Oaks Bluff next month. So I think that's this guy takes over in Oaks Bluff next month.
What
His
a
father was
cool
there.
tie-in.
So he is now a cop there.
He's the new Chief Brody.
And he was in Jaws as one of the kids. I don't know which one he is. I need to find out if he's the one kid that doesn't say anything or he's the kid that points to the other kid. And obviously the water's really cold because they're going, they're chatting their teeth while they're talking.
They could only do one take of that.
And as we know, the water was cold when they filmed Jaws because they didn't film it in the summertime. That's the funny part about it. But it's supposed to be summer in the film. And I'm like, wow. That's crazy. But to be in Jaws, I would have gotten in that cold water. I wouldn't have cared. I'm in this movie, and Steven Spielberg's directing
Well,
it.
nobody knew it was going to be the hit.
I know, but you and I'd be in a film no matter what, probably. We
Correct.
really love it so much.
Correct. Even if it goes straight to DVD or...
Hey, we're going to cover you with tar and feather, hot tar and feather you in this film, but you're going to have a great scene, and it's going to be seen all around the world. You want to do it, Alan? Sure. Mm-hmm. I'll do it.
Yeah. Is it
Just
pay?
find a way to get this off, though, when the scene is over. That would be great.
If it's good enough for Joe Pesci in the first Home Alone.
Yeah, that's right. Speaking of films, I did mention it.
Why are you dressed like a chicken?
I'll hit on it a little bit right now. Star Trek The Motion Picture. The first Star Trek film came out in 1979. And, it came out to fairly okay reviews. I mean, it was a big success. It was one of the most expensive films ever filmed, money-wise, at that point. They spent more on it than any other film in history in 1978, 79. But when it came out, I don't know, it was less than spectacular. It wasn't Star Wars, and I always thought, well, isn't that the point? It's not Star Wars. It's Star Trek. It's one of the more Star Trek films out of all of them, story-wise and content-wise. Well, I always really loved the film. I was excited to see those guys on the screen in my beloved Star Trek, which I grew up watching in syndication up to the late 70s. I was so happy. I was what was I in 79? I was 14 years old. I loved that I was going to see these guys again. I got all the Cheerio boxes with their cardboard cards in the back, the Star Trek The Motion Picture cards and stuff.
I was 8.
You were, like I say, you were a little younger. I would have had to drive you to.
Almost.
Well,
when
no,
did
I
it
couldn't
come?
drive you yet because I didn't have a driver's license.
Was it a summer release?
It was December of '79.
Oh, then I would have been 9.
Yeah,
I would have been
9 years old. Well, the movie didn't. Back when it came out, it didn't get a preview audience. We've talked about this before. Robert Wise didn't get to tweak it in the theater in the studio like a lot of filmmakers get to do, have a preview audience. This movie, the color was kind of faded on. It was muted color. A lot of things didn't make sense. Things went on for too long. And I loved it when it first came out. I didn't really notice any of that. I loved it anyway. Well, they got a hold of it, and Robert Wise passed away, the director. Well-known director, too, by the way. Sound of Music, Day the Earth Stood Still, The Andromeda Strain. So many classic movies. He was a very Academy Award-winning director. The Hindenburg. If you've ever seen The Hindenburg, it was a great movie from for the mid-'70s. They finally got a hold of it and put it in 4K, remixed the film from the ground up, including the soundtrack to it and everything. And we went to see it. And in the theater and on Paramount Plus, where you can see this thing in 4K, it looks fantastic. We had such a good job. If you remember, Commander Clark was there with us. Indiana Shawn was there. Brian Gwynn was there. We had a nice little group of folks there to watch it, and we all enjoyed it immensely. It did look like a different film and had a different feel while we were watching it from what we were used to, and it was really great to see those colors pop kind of the way they should have back in the day. I equated it with, sometimes I used to go over to my grandparents' house, and their television, they'd be watching something on television, and I was like 13, 14 years old. And I would go to their house, and I'm like, what's wrong with your television? You just bought it like a couple of weeks ago. Why does it look terrible? They're like, well, we don't think it looks all that bad. I'm like, everything's wrong. You had to open the door on those old cabinet TVs, and you had all the controls there for the color, the tint, the brightness, the contrast, the sharpness, all of that. So I got a hold of it, and I'm fixing the color, and I'm fixing the tint. Everyone's not purple anymore; they're more flesh tone. And I got the color, the brightness turned down to an acceptable level, and then the contrast. You didn't have an on-screen guide like you used to have with the THX things that you could set your stuff with in the old days in your monitors. This was a picture tube television, and I was able to take their television and adjust it to where their picture looked great. I'm like, and they were amazed. They're like, oh, that looks so much better. I'm like, well, you guys could have done this. They didn't take time to do it. That's what I equate what they did to Star Trek The Motion Picture. That's what they did. They made it look phenomenal. They made it sound phenomenal. There was a different sound mixture. They cut some scenes down. They refilmed some scenes. They did some CGI remastering to brighten everything
So you're
up.
Okay with this special edition?
I'm okay with this special edition. I am. If I'm a little tad bit double standard, then I admit it. I'm fine. I am. I
It's
will.
all right.
I will. Only because this is the way the movie was originally meant to be.
The side-by-side scenes you showed me last week?
It's incredible. And I still want to come over and watch it on your theater system, because I did find out if you stream it from Paramount Plus, it is in 4K if you stream it. And if you have to pay for it, I'll pay for half of it or whatever. Just let me know.
You'll pay for half.
I'll bring you over some vodka or whatever, or some popcorn or whatever you want. I'll bring over
find
something
out if it's
to
working.
help you out. It's BK on the air. Stay tuned. We got more coming up.
If only you could hear what people think. Like to be her pen pal.
Nice. Too bad he's scratching his head. Could be dandruff. Sure get a lot of junk mail.
That little itch could be showing people you have dandruff. But Head & Shoulders handles that itch, so all it shows is hair that's soft and shiny clean.
Well, 3A? Oh, 3B.
Try Head & Shoulders shampoo and show off your hair, not the itch of dandruff, in regular and conditioning formulas.
From the leading edge of technology comes a new generation of video electronics from Zenith. At the touch of a button, the giant screen rises and you enjoy Space Screen 45 TV. Push a space phone button and turn your TV into a telephone. Produce a movie with your VCR and play it back on Zenith's new component TV system with stereo capability. Video high-tech, part of the new generation from Zenith, where the quality goes in before the name goes on.
Hey, we're back. It's BK on the air here on AM 1450 and 100.3 FM WBHF. I want to tell you, I turned it into a podcast after we're off. Just search for BK on the air podcast, and you'll find it out there wherever it happens to be available. It's very easy if you have searching prowess on the internet. It's not too hard to find. I love it when my family and the elderly aunts and uncles will send me a text or do a Facebook follow-up and go, hey, where can I find this thing that you're talking about? I'm like, if you'll read the article that I posted, it's actually in there where you can find it, and I don't have to tell you. Or where can I buy this? I'm like, there's this little thing called Amazon.com. It'll sell you anything that you can possibly your anything your heart desires.
It's like
probably on
every
Amazon.
Conversation
It's
I had
magic.
with my girls growing up. Dad, how does this make? I don't know if there was a magic box you could put that.
I wish there was
don't
a
want to
way.
look it up. I want you to tell me. I'm like, that's
but
what it is. You
takes
just want me to
as
tell me.
long for me to do that as you to look at it. I mean, it's a way. It's a way to do it. And I love it when I'll post something and it's actually on the BK on Their Facebook page, and it's actually in the title of the article. Ewan McGregor is going to be in the new Obi-Wan show as Obi-Wan Kenobi. And people go, that's fantastic. I love Obi-Wan Kenobi. Who's playing him? It's like, it's in the title of the article.
Are they going to get Ewan McGregor back?
Look. I don't know. I have no idea who's going to play him. There's no idea who is. Let's do a little on to this day in history today. On this day, May the 28th, 1937, the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco opens to vehicle traffic for the very first time in 1937. It's just a scant few years later, the Klingon bird of prey will be flying under it with whales on board, just crashing right under it.
Talk about an iconic structure.
It's been in a lot of things. You see it and you actually know that's it. Like the two of the most famous buildings in New York at one point. Well, at one point it was the World Trade Center and the Chrysler Building and the Empire State Building. They were all very recognizable, which is cool. 1971, on this day in history, Paul McCartney releases his Ram album. It's his second solo album. I saw a great interview with Paul McCartney saying, did you know that when I was going to bring my first album out, we'd already, broke up the Beatles. We broke up. We all had bad taste in our mouths after the breakup, I guess. And he goes, they sent Ringo Starr to my house to tell me, don't release your solo album the same time the last Beatles album comes out, or they're going to threaten me with legal action. He goes, they didn't tell me themselves. They sent Ringo over to my house to tell me. Wow. And he goes, what did I do? I released it. So I'm like, wow. How much, we talked about this before, when you're young and you're just starting out as a band and you're hungry to do the music and stuff, you never think about stuff like that. Only when billions of dollars and producers and legalities come into play that you start to hate each other and stuff like that, and creative things happen. Isn't that terrible? Mm-hmm. I always wish that rock bands could stay that way, and a lot of them have. Stay that wonderful way you were when you first started out. Don't let the money and the lawyers and the creative things and the egos get in the way and break it up. But sadly, that happened to a lot of groups. And nothing we do about it.
You'll never stop it because it's human nature. Some people just change.
Sergeant Friday said it the best in Dragnet. He goes, why do we have internal affairs where we have to investigate our own police officers when they do something wrong or whatever? He goes, well, there's only one way to describe it. We recruit from the human race, and that's the way it is. Right. People have emotions.
People are flawed.
We're not computers and stuff. Also, on this day in 1974, the 26th Emmy Awards took place, and MASH and Alan Alda and Mary Tyler Moore won an Emmy Award in 1974, and deservedly so, too, by the way. 1982, wow, 40 years ago, was Leonard Maltin's first appearance, movie reviewer, on Entertainment Tonight on this day in history. He's been reviewing movies for a long time. He's one of the better ones that I like. I've always liked Leonard Maltin, and I liked Bill Harris from Showtime back in the day. He was a great movie reviewer that I actually liked. He wasn't pompous and always disliking things that I liked and stuff like that. I'm like, why do they not like any movies that I like? It's so weird. We're talking about Siskel and Ebert too. They had an interesting. I think they were split on Star Trek: The Motion Picture when they reviewed it back in '79. When they came out and reviewed it, one of them liked it, one of them didn't.
Sorry, we get a window.
Funny. Are you distracted by something else?
I'm not into the whole mountain man beard thing still.
Right?
I can't figure that out. Everybody's looking like they're a reject out of a
Civil War picture. Is the speakers on outside of the station?
Yeah.
We don't want him to hear you and wait for you when you come out of the station here.
That's true.
Don't do that, because he looked like he could probably take you. He could take you.
Maybe.
I'd help you.
Anyone who can grow a beard like that can take you.
I would help you. Let's just be certain that we understand and make it clear in a fight.
Right.
Okay, good. Just making sure that's
right.
what we what we mean. So,
whoop my behind.
1982. We talked about 1982. We have, and we're going to all year about it being 40 years ago. Well, in 1982, in the theaters, you could go see this for the first time.
It's a wrecking machine. Now, it's time for Rocky to face the challenge of his life.
For the first time in my life, I'm afraid.
It's time for new allies, new enemies, new dreams. New tears, new danger, new courage, new love, new excitement. It's time for Rocky 3, rated PG. Starts Friday. Check newspapers for a theater near you.
Rocky 3 with Sylvester Stallone. And, I still to this day always think and love the fight scene between him and Mr. T. I think Rocky 3 has the best fight scene out of all the Rocky films. It's just the one that I don't think it's the best Rocky film. I just think it has the best fight, choreographed
all
fight.
Rocky 3 is a summation of Rocky 1 and 2.
That's fine.
Because he has a fight in the beginning and loses, and then has the rematch and wins. But rather than having to go through two movies, we only get it in one.
And Rocky 4 is kind of where I thought people would argue that it was 3. I think Rocky 4 is where they really started to go over the top and lose their little bit of. But it was a crowd pleaser. It was a very popular movie and made a lot of money. And then they decided, oh, wow, let's go back to the first Rocky film with Rocky 5, which no one liked, which I thought was okay. I did not hate Rocky 5. I thought they tried to go back to, it didn't have a climactic end fight. The climactic end fight at the end of Rocky 5 was in an alley. Yeah, that's right. And that's where it was happened for a reason.
And I liked it because it was different.
Right, exactly. And
now, I have not seen Rocky Balboa.
I didn't. I haven't seen Rocky Balboa, and I need to see that because I did see the last Rambo movie, which was like kind of his final thing, and I thought it was pretty well done. But,
you talk about Last Blood?
Yeah, the last Rocky film. Yeah, Rambo film. I did see that.
I haven't seen the one that they shot in not Thailand, but wherever it was.
Yeah, that one's better than the last one.
That's
they
what
did.
I heard.
It's like a, and I want to be. Let me be clear when I say this because I don't get in trouble. It's the violence in that that Rambo film, that the one before the last one, is done in such a way where it's cinematically interesting. I mean, it's shot in such a way just as you have to watch it. The way Sylvester Stallone shot that film and directed all this action violent scenes, I've never seen really anything like it, and it was very interesting and almost. What am I trying to say? Obscenely beautiful in a way. I mean, not beautiful because of what's happening.
I heard Apocalyptico has the same thing.
It's like a ballet a macabre ballet of some kind or something. It's very well done. See if you watch it, see what I'm talking about. We're going to take a break. We'll come back. We'll tell you whose birthday it is. And we have a James Bond birthday, believe it or not, and what national day it is. Man, there's a couple of really good national days. There's a lot of national days, but I'm only going to do 2 of them because some of them are canceling each other out.
Today.
So, they're related, I think, to be on there.
Computers are coming your way.
Computers? For paying bills?
Mothers, too.
Bah, humbug.
Wow. Let me try it.
Where is that stuff? I can't find our vacation plans.
Well, get organized, Dad, with a database management system.
A data what?
It's a computer program that helps you organize information, save it, and sort it so you can find what you want.
All that?
Sure. It's like a filing cabinet. I store a list of all my comic books, and the program even alphabetizes them for me. Tabby keeps track of all her tapes. Mom uses it to store her favorite recipes. And Stanley keeps a record of all the flowers he's planted and their scents. Not to mention our vacation plans.
Maybe it can help me with a household budget.
For tapes. For recipes.
For flowers.
And lots of other stuff, all on one disk.
A database system is a great way to get organized.
See you soon.
Let's tell Mom it was Billy's mistake.
You're making the mistake.
Flint!
Anyone can have an accident, but lying makes it worse.
But Mom will be upset.
She'll be even more upset if you lie. And how would you feel if Billy got punished? Face up to what you've done. Don't take the easy way out.
We'll tell her we did it.
Remember, it's better to tell the truth.
And that's no lie. Now we know.
And knowing is half the battle.
G.I. Joe!
Woo! This is Dr. Johnny Fever with a prescription for those Monday night blues. WKRP in Cincinnati.
Tomorrow and every Monday at 8, 7 Central and Mountain.
Take only as directed.
Hey, we're back. Is the mic on? Now it's on.
It was on.
Was on?
No, it's on.
Okay.
Wait, no, it's on.
Hey, if I don't make a mistake during this show, it's not part of the show, is it? Let's do a little birthdays on this day in history. Well, on this day, May the 28th. Today is Ian Fleming's birthday today. English author, Best known for the James Bond novels, he died in 1964, which is unfortunate. He didn't see a whole lot of his films come out after that. I mean, I think Goldfinger or something had come out at that point. I don't know if it had been released yet, but at least he got to see Dr. No, From Russia with Love, and maybe Goldfinger. He saw 3 of them.
Have you seen Operation Mincemeat yet?
Not
on
yet.
Netflix?
But like I told you before, I saw the original movie, The Man Who Wasn't There, which was made in the late 50s, which was a fantastic movie about that true event. And I haven't seen that one yet, but it is in our queue of movies to watch. I even told Mrs. BK about that. She goes, "Oh, yeah, I'd like to watch that."
I heartily recommend it.
I will watch it. I love that story and history. I love that, what they did.
Especially since 2 of the code names they assigned were like, well, we can only refer to him as M, and and we've been assigned to Q Group.
Right.
I'm like,
that's
M,
where did
Q,
you get
and
that
Ian
from?
Fleming? Are you kidding me? These were real things.
And that happened way before
Yes.
James Bond stuff. Or maybe, I don't know when he wrote the first novel, though.
If
When
you
did he write
believe
the
the Operation Mincemeat, he was already dabbling at writing.
Ian Fleming. Awesome. Ian Fleming's birthday today. Today is Beth Howland's birthday. She played Vera on Alice, the TV show Alice, the ditzy, crazy goofball actress, waitress out of all of them. She died in 2015. I'd forgotten about that. Today is the main force behind Creedence Clearwater Revival. John Fogerty's birthday today. American songwriter, guitarist, and singer. He had a lot of good solo
You know how we
hits,
talk
too.
about odd stories in music? How in the world do you get sued for sounding like you?
Are you talking about when they sued him for doing that solo song on his album, The Old Man's Down the Road,
Right,
and it
like,
sounded too much like Run Through the Jungle?
Like Creedence Clearwater Revival.
It sounded like Run Through the Jungle, yeah. And it did, if you listen to them.
Well, there's
yeah.
a reason.
It came out of my brain. All that came out of my head. And I don't know if, I never knew how a lot of these suits got resolved, but something tells me, if I remember correctly, that he lost that and had to pay something or do something because of that. That's wrong. That's wrong.
The filmmakers of The Howling suing the guy that the score. We always talk about him. Star Trek 2.
You mean Wolfen? Wolfen, not The Howling.
Wolfen.
James Horner.
James Horner. It'd be like the producers of Wolfen suing James Horner for reusing that part in Star Trek 2.
And The Rocketeer, too. Well, if that was the case,
that
Horner
sounds so similar. You stole it.
Horner would have been in court every year of his life if that had happened to him.
Steal the music I created.
It's just terrible that the way that happens. It's just crazy. Today is Sandra Well, we talked about lawyers early, Yes.
Kill all the lawyers.
What do you call 10,000 lawyers at the bottom of the ocean?
A good start.
A good start. I may have got the numbers wrong on that, but that's the joke. What's the difference between a lawyer and a bucket of
I don't know.
The bucket.
The bucket?
And I cleaned that one up, too, by the way. Hey, if you're a lawyer listening, I'm sorry. That's just those
not
what
all
other people.
Lawyers,
not all lawyers are the same. Today is Sandra Locke's birthday, American actress and director. And one time, I don't think she was married to Clint Eastwood, but she was his girlfriend, I think, for a long time. Were they ever married?
They were
married.
An item.
They were
I
a
don't
couple
know if they ever got
for years.
married.
She died in 2018. I forgot about that she passed away, too. She was a great actress. She actually was the killer in Sudden Impact, the Dirty Harry movie, the lady was killing all the people for revenge for raping her when she was younger. She was also in Outlaw Josie Wales as the young girl on the wagon train that got attacked.
Was that the first time they did something together?
Outlaw Josie Wales, maybe. Well, it depends on when did The Gauntlet come out.
That was also in the mid-'70s.
Right. I can't remember if it was.
Great.
I think The Gauntlet came out before Outlaw Josie Wales because she's on the bus with him and he's the witness she's got to get.
Because she's the one that
I think I gotta have to look that up. I liked her. She was a and she was a director
few people
too.
know the movie The Gauntlet, and yet say it, and you and I are like, oh yeah, that movie.
Why is that one forgotten by people? I don't know.
It's great.
It's really a great movie. It's very violent too. But they shoot up that bus at the end like it's a Swiss cheese bus at the end.
This time, law enforcement
Right.
lining the streets
because they're being directed by corrupt law enforcement people. Yeah, that's right.
Just take the bus out.
Today is Brandon Cruz's birthday today. Why do you remember his name, maybe? He was the little kid in the TV show with Bill Bixby, The Courtship of Eddie's Father. I don't know if you've ever seen that show, but that was the show he did in the early to mid-'70s where he was, I think he was a dad. The kid lost his mom, he lost his wife, and he has a live-in maid that's part of the family, kind of like Alice from the Brady Bunch. And it's just about him and his son's his relationship, and it was like a comedy drama show, and it was very popular. Had a great theme song at the beginning. But what's funny is that kid played his son in the show, and they'd remained friends for years even after that, to where I think Bill Bixby was essential in casting him in an episode of The Incredible Hulk later on. He says he put Brandon Cruz in an episode of The Incredible Hulk, and I think it was the one where it was where they're on the airplane, and something was wrong with the pilot, and David Banner had to take over the controls to land the 747.
Did he get angry at the
and then
storm?
when he got angry, he started turning into the Hulk on the jet, and he said, "Get out of the cockpit!" The Hulk pushes the brakes down on the thing. It showed his green foot on it. I never will forget that. But Brandon Cruz was in that episode of The Incredible Hulk with Bill Bixby. A little goofball BK on the air trivia for you there that you may never have to use, or you might use it at a trivia night one night.
You never
Who
know.
knows? Because I certainly can't answer the sports question. That's for sure. Today is always National Something Day. Today is National Brisket Day. I can hang with that. I can go with that. Even though with barbecue I prefer pork, but if there's brisket, I'll eat it. If there's anything on a grill, I'll probably usually eat it, no matter what it is. Just don't hold it on there very long. I don't like it well charred done. Even though I do like the burnt ends of barbecue meat. I do like the burnt ends. Those are cool. And today is National Hamburger Day. National Hamburger Day.
Now, I know you kind of truncated into both, but I am definitely, if I'm eating a burger, it is meat. It is going to be a beef
when I say
burger.
hamburger, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
Because when I say
well,
hamburger,
today-
that's meat is, there's no ham in it. I don't know why it's called hamburger.
Chopped ham? No, it's chopped steak.
It's chopped steak. You put A1 steak sauce. Yeah. Now, let me ask you this. There's many ways to make a hamburger. I don't think there's any wrong way to do it because there's so many there's wrong ways to me. Personally, there is. Don't put a slice of pineapple on my hamburger. I'm not going to do that. And McDonald's was going to do that one time in the past. I'll tell you about that later.
Hawaiian burger.
Yeah. They said, Hawaiian burger or filet of fish? Let's market both of them and try them out. Many years ago. I think it was in the early 60s or maybe the 50s. Well, guess which one won over?
Filet of fish.
The filet of fish is still around. What is your perfect way? What is Alan Sanders' wonderful, perfect way to make a hamburger? How do you like it if you fix it every time and you just like it that way?
It's got to be on the grill. It
Well,
can't
but yeah,
be-
but what toppings? I'm talking toppings.
Oh, you're talking about the
How
fix-
do you fix it?
So I have evolved, but this is how I do it now.
I mean, right now, talking to you
Now.
today.
Now,
How do you
there's
have to
going to
have it?
be some onion,
Okay.
and steak sauce, and it could have tomato and lettuce, but no ketchup, no
Steak
mustard.
sauce, okay.
I do put steak sauce with
Okay.
onion on my burger.
Okay. So, all right, that's a good way to make it. And I like that you put lettuce and tomato are optional. For me, they're always optional, and leave them off is what I
Yeah.
do. But my favorite way to make a burger is bun. Yeah, okay. The sesame seed, preferably,
by the
because I
way,
like the sesame seed buns.
Bun
They're
goes
kinda cool.
without question. I know some people are-
hamburger made out of meat, exactly. Well grilled onions. I like them almost caramelized. I like grilled onions with mushrooms. I love the mushrooms on the burger. Mustard, ketchup, salt, and black pepper. To me, that's my perfect burger,
When
but I can't
grill,
have it other ways.
The salt and black pepper goes on to the seasoning ahead
Then
of
that's
time.
then it's already in there. That's fine. It's already in there. But
It's in there.
There's other ways to have burgers. I mean, I love chili on a hot dog. Sometimes people put chili on a burger. I won't turn it down if that's why. If you say, "Hey, I picked you up a burger down here at Four Way with chili on it," I'm like, "Okay, I'll take it. If it tastes good, I'll take it." But there's another way. Several places make a burger, and I think it's called. I don't know what it's called, but they put mac and cheese on the burger. A homemade baked mac and cheese on top of the patty with the bun. And I've tried it that way. Oh, and I like mustard and ketchup on mine, too, by the way. Steak sauce is good, too. But they put mac and cheese. There's a place we go to in Marietta. It's an upscale restaurant that has what they call the Dirty South Burger. And it's just got mac and cheese on it with the char grilled burger or the char grilled burger. It is delicious
I left
that way.
two side possibilities off, but if they're available, I'll take them. Bacon.
Bacon's optional. Sometimes I don't like mixing meat together, but a bacon, if it's done right, bacon on a burger's good. It's okay. Bacon's good.
And then cheese.
And I'm like you. I know that you and I have something in common. If there's a pickle on it, I'll take it off and eat it separately. I don't eat it on the
like
burger.
pickle on my burger.
Just
I've never
the way
liked
I
them.
am. But I do like pickles, though.
I love pickles.
I could eat them like by
People have
themselves.
said that, like, you love pickles. Yeah. Why do you pick them off your burger? I don't like how it meshes with the
don't
flavor
want
of the
them
burger.
on there. You're right. And there's a brand of pickles that we think are the best. Mrs. BK and I are crazy about Wickles. Next time you're in the grocery store, look for a jar of Wickles. They just have their own spicy way of making them, and they're our favorite pickle that we've ever had. Wickles, they're the
Well,
best.
I've not tried that brand, but I'm the
They're
same way
awesome.
with chicken sandwiches. I don't want pickles on my chicken sandwich either.
True. I don't like pickles really on anything except I just eat them separately.
Give me one on the side.
Yeah,
where
I'll
I
eat
can take a bite of pickle.
If it's a little bread and butter round one or just a pickle spear, whichever way it is, I'll eat it separately.
Mm-hmm.
So see, we have another thing in common.
There we go.
The way we devour the pickle.
Nothing wrong with the way you said it. It was like, whoa.
Wait, yeah, that sounded weird. I'm sorry.
Take that back.
Hey, I can never take anything back. I've noticed that.
That's true.
We record everything here. Then when I turn to a podcast, I could edit that out.
You could.
But I don't. You could, Rabbit. You could.
You might. You might.
Got a little bit for the bottom of the hour here. Let's do this right quick because I can squeeze this in. Upcoming 2022 movies that are coming up, and I got the dates for you. Now, remember, don't hold me to these dates because in parentheses it says all dates subject to change because sometimes they do change the release date. I did have Top Gun Maverick coming out on a certain date, but it's already passed, so I put now showing. Top Gun Maverick is in the theater right now, rated PG-13. And somebody spoiled it for me. I know that Val Kilmer is in the film. I know his photo's in the film.
I knew he was in it.
But I know he's really in it, and it's interesting the way he's in it, the way I heard he's in it. It's very interesting.
I don't want to know anything about it.
Interestingly done. On Friday, June the 10th, Jurassic World Dominion comes out with Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard and the rest of the cast from Jurassic Park, by the way. Friday, June the 17th, Lightyear, Buzz Lightyear's movie from Pixar is released. Friday, June the 24th, the Elvis film that I saw a trailer for, biopic about Elvis, looks very interesting with Tom Hanks playing Colonel Tom Parker in the film. He's eerily horrific looking in it.
If done right, you're not going to like it.
Right. Friday, July the 8th, Thor, Love and Thunder from Marvel. We'll be there to see that. Apparently another Salem's Lot. Stephen King is coming out September the 9th. Another take on the Salem's Lot vampire story. Black Adam, the DC Warner Brothers with The Rock, October 21st, Friday. I got more. We'll cover more and more when we come back.
And now these messages.
Clean. I mean, really clean. And it holds any set I want.
New beer-enriched shampoo, Body on Tap, gives your hair super body, super hold.
Brewed with 1/3 real beer.
Wow.
But don't drink it. Just shampoo. Whether I roll it, pin it, curl it, or blow it dry. It gives my hair super body, super hold.
And the shine of your life. It's the beer shampoo that does it in 3 bodybuilding formulas.
That's body.
On Tap.
Here's to good friends. Tonight is kind of special.
How you holding up? I'm all right. You want to go for 10 miles? If we make it, I'll buy you a beer. If we make it, I'll buy you a Lone Brow.
When you want the taste of a truly great American beer, tonight, let it be Lowenbrow.
Tonight, let it be Lowenbrow.
When I was a kid, I used to dream what it would be like to live somewhere far away from Hell's Kitchen. But I realized the city was a part of me. It was in my blood. And I would do anything to make it a better place.
Good and evil. Sometimes the difference between the two is a sharp line. Sometimes it's a blur. Sometimes you have to do things outside of the law.
We're gonna make a difference. I know it doesn't feel like it sometimes, but we are.
You're blind, but you see so much.
I hear things.
You know what they call stuff like that? Gifts. I'm gonna train you. Use it.
There are other ways to see.
Are left behind. I don't see the city anymore.
Each breath you take is mine.
There's only dark corners.
I'll keep you safe, Karen. I have to be the man this city needs.
What are you gonna do?
Whatever it takes.
We fight every night for something. When the sun sets, we're both the same.
You and I have a lot in common. We're nothing alike.
We can't go back for nothing. Take what you need, say everybody.
Another man's evil does not make you good. I respect your conviction. The lone man thinks he can make a difference.
This darkness is the light.
I'm just trying to make my city a better place.
Maybe if he had an iron suit or a magic hammer, that would explain why you keep getting your asses handed to you.
We're back. It's BK on the air. The Daredevil music playing in the background, which is now available on Disney Plus, by the way. It was a Netflix show first. I think did ABC
I may have to
Studios
re-binge that, like you just recently did, the full 3 seasons. I may have to go back and just rewatch them all.
I did. It was to me. I think now, after I think about it, what's your favorite Marvel streaming show? To me, it's I have to pick Daredevil. I don't know why. I mean, I loved Hawkeye. I loved a lot of the other shows, but Daredevil was a fantastic show. Well, the reason I do that is that John Otterson for Variety reported about this, and this was news last week, but I didn't get to talk about it on the air. But I'll hit on it a little bit here since I'm back on the air with the new episodes. Rumors have persisted for some time that a Disney Plus series about the Man Without Fear, that's what Daredevil was called. He was called that in the comic book, the Man Without Fear, that it was in the works, especially considering that 2 of the stars of the Netflix Daredevil series, Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio, have appeared in recent Marvel projects, like Hawkeye and Spider-Man No Way Home. Cox once again played Matt Murdock, the secret identity of Daredevil, in the film Spider-Man No Way Home, while D'Onofrio reprised his role of Wilson Fisk, the kingpin of crime, in the Disney Plus series Hawkeye. I think it's great that we learned in Season 3 he was never called the Kingpin, but that was his name in the comic book. He's only called Kingpin in the series because that's what the corrupt FBI and cops code name for him is. Mm-hmm. That was the perfect way to work the name in there. They called him that when they were referring to him or needed him to do something, or the secret way that they communicated with him. Now, it now appears that the project is picking up steam with the hiring of Corman and Ord, who I think worked on the old show, to make this new show on Disney Plus. Marvel has yet to announce anything official, but the way it's been reported on all these places like Variety and these very reputable places, it's going to happen, I'm pretty sure. Marvel Studios do not comment on projects in development, as we know. Fans have been clamoring for more Daredevil ever since the Netflix series was canceled in 2018 after 3 seasons. They were in for a long wait, however, as Variety reported in 2018 that the deal with Netflix included a clause that prevented any characters from the Marvel Netflix shows from appearing in any non-Netflix project for the 2 years after cancellation. This is crazy because Marvel has so many legal things going on that they're like, we own this, but we don't. Right. We own this, but we don't. We can make comic books about these characters all day long without paying anybody and just getting money ourselves. But the minute we put them on film or television, we have a separate issue to talk about.
Welcome to intellectual
That is so crazy. That's the one
law.
thing DC Warner does not have a problem with. Thank goodness they don't have to worry about this. That move came as Disney looked into bringing its Marvel heroes under one umbrella, with multiple Marvel Cinematic Universe shows having since debuted on Disney Plus. Moon Knight, starring Oscar Isaac, was the last such show to premiere with a trailer for the She-Hulk series starring Tatiana Maslany that came out, I think it was last week. By the way, let me say something about that. When I saw the trailer for the She-Hulk, did you see the trailer for the She-Hulk? To me, I guess it looks like an interesting show.
Avatar.
It'd be an interesting show, or Shrek. It looked like an interesting show. I mean, you can't judge a lot from a trailer because Marvel will make it entertaining. I have no doubt about that. But let me just say the CGI looked horrible. A lot of the CGI shots looked completely video game. It didn't even look as good as video game. Some of those shots didn't. I've now understood that Marvel has since went back and corrected that for the newer trailer. I'm like, okay, so that's what it was. They're like, well, it's okay. It's an early trailer. They didn't quite get the CGI down right. I'm like, well, then don't release it.
Right.
Just release your best product. And you know what a trailer's supposed to do? It's supposed to suck you in.
It's supposed
and
to
get
make
you
you
jazzed.
want to watch it.
Yeah. When I saw
Not
the trailer,
go,
I thought, interesting trailer, sans the CGI horrible.
You know how when your dog does that, you was like,
It looked terrible. So I haven't seen the updated one. I don't know if the updated trailer has been released yet. So we'll have to wait and see if it's been released. I forgot, let's get back to the list of movies coming out. I got just about 4 more to cover here. October the 21st, Black Adam is being released with The Rock. I don't know if I have a lot of interest in seeing that, but who knows? That's the flip side, I guess, evil guy to Shazam. He's like the flip side of Shazam. Friday, November the 11th, Black Panther Wakanda Forever is released from Marvel. So that will be this year.
I'm really interested on how they're going to continue that story.
I hear a rumor that Namor, the Submariner, is going to be in that. He was another villain at first, but good guy later. I don't know how they're going to treat that underwater. Marvel's version of Aquaman is basically or Aquaman's a version of him from DC, one or the other. Friday, December the 16th, Avatar, The Way of Water is coming out. James Cameron's latest Avatar film that I think just about everyone has forgotten about. Don't know if anybody's going to remember what that is. Or whatever. They got to ride at Disney.
Well,
they'll remember it. So
it's the #1 movie of the world again.
Yeah, that's true, which I didn't think it was that great. I think it was a spectacular feast for the eyes, but as far as story-wise, I was bored about an hour in. I'm like, okay, this is kind of boring now. And it's just me. Don't get mad at me. Don't send me, or get mad at me. Or you're going to do what you do. I'm sorry. And I like James Cameron as a film director. I like James Cameron.
I'm not going to be able to go on. That's
a regular thing that I'm starting to say. Don't get mad at me. But you're right. The older I get, the more I really don't give a darn. It's like, you don't like me? Sorry. Nothing I did.
Isn't it freeing? Doesn't it just make you feel like...
I used to, when I was in my 20s, I'm like, why doesn't that person like me? What did I do wrong? I'm just pulling my hair out.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, I don't care.
Okay, you're lost.
Especially if I found out, especially if I search my head and my brain and I'm like, I can't think of anything I did to that person. What did I do? But sometimes there's little nuances you could do to people, and you never know that that's what it was. I'm like, hey, you got mad at me because of that?
Right.
Really? That's what I did. I used a fork when I should have used a spoon when we're out eating. Is that what I did?
You took your pickle off your burger.
I'm so sorry. And you didn't eat the pickle with the burger. Are you crazy? I'm sorry. Well, no, I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry. And Wednesday, December 21st, 2022, Shazam! Fury of the Gods will be released. I'm one of those that I really enjoyed the first Shazam movie from Warner Brothers. I can count on one hand how many DC Warner movies that I really liked. Maybe on part of my finger, maybe on 4 of them, not 5. I won't include the thumb. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'll go through them right quick. DC movies I really liked. I really liked Shazam. I really liked Wonder Woman. The first Wonder Woman movie, very entertaining, very well done. It was Captain America's story, but it was still good. I loved Aquaman. I thought Aquaman was wonderfully. It looked like a Marvel film. It looked like very full of color. Action, very well done. Amber Heard's in it. I'm sorry. I know she's going through that whole thing right now. They want to try to erase her. But it was a good movie. I thought Aquaman was really good. And was there a fourth one that I liked? Oh, the Joker. I liked Joker. Joker was good. Now there is 5.
Is the Joker supposedly part of the DCEU?
No, but it is DC Warner, so I'm just going to clue it into the DC films. I'll do that. I liked Joker, and I liked the Batman. Those are the 5, I guess, that I liked from their recent efforts. Yeah. I liked those. Probably Wonder Woman being my favorite out of all those. I really liked the first one. Did not like the second Wonder Woman film. Didn't like it at all.
The Joker is so darn good.
It's
with
just
Joaquin
so
Phoenix.
depressing. Oh, it's just no. I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I'm just saying it's so intensely depressing.
Just so well shot, and the Batman is so good that I think those two are a little bit better than Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman in the DCEU, though.
Right.
The world they tried to copy and
right.
That's the best of all the DCEU. Although you said you like Aquaman, which I've never seen.
I did. You need to see Aquaman. I don't know that you'd like it because it might be a little over the top for you, but it was so, to me, it was very different from how Aquaman is in the comic books, but it's an entertaining film. I sat there and I loved the entire movie.
Here's why, I didn't even give Aquaman a try, because by the time I'd battled through the Superman, the Batman, the Superman versus Batman, the first just Suicide Squad.
Right.
I was done.
You had Warner Brother fatigue.
I was just done. And everybody goes, "Well, go back and now watch the cut of Justice League." What's his face? Who's the guy?
Zack Snyder.
Yeah, the Zack Snyder cut.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe it's worth 4.5 hours of my time.
Right.
But I've been burned so badly by the DCEU. Haven't really missed it.
I might have to give you an incentive. You watch Aquaman. If you don't like it, I'll buy you lunch after we get out of here one day or something like that, so you won't feel like you've lost anything.
Well, I'm just going to say I hated it now to begin with.
No, why you don't do that?
You know I wouldn't.
You're like, I don't want to go out with lunch with you anyway. Now I'm really not going to watch it.
I know. You know what? I've got a few.
We'll even get seafood.
I could get seafood.
Seafood, yeah. Let's be seafood.
I always like to see food.
I see food the whole time it goes into my mouth.
You know what? I've got some days coming up where I don't have to worry about coming to an agreement on what we're going to watch. I might have to give Aquaman a try.
Why is she leaving? Is that what you mean by that? Is that what that translates into?
No comment.
Oh, okay. Well, I still want to come over and watch Star Trek: The Motion Picture on Paramount Plus on your system. We need to see that. So you let me know a date, and I'll head that way. And
sounds like that could be fun.
And then when I let Mrs. BK know I'm doing that, I know I'm going to hear, "Are you going to watch it again?" I'm like, "Yeah, I am. I'm going to watch it again."
It's nice to have favorite movies.
It is. I mean, I've always had.
I'm guaranteed
movies,
at the end of 2 hours, I will have had a good time.
Yes, I will. Yeah, we will. And I guarantee you will, because I think you're going to be impressed at what they've done to it and the technical aspect of it and how great it looks.
I still won't want you to talk through it.
And I won't.
What rolls downstairs, a boner in pairs, rolls over your neighbor's dog. What's great for a snack and fits on your back? It's log, log, log. It's log, log. It's big, it's heavy, it's wood. It's log, log. It's better than bad, it's good. Everyone wants a log. You're gonna love it long. Come on and get your log. Everyone needs a log.
Log from Blammo.
Oh, no, it's not. That record isn't ruined. Don't believe me? See, the music's unharmed. This is Zenith's remarkable Micro-Touch 2G tone arm. Because the needle floats within the tone arm, you can drop it, even slide it. It's impossible to accidentally ruin your records on Zenith stereo. In fact, the needle pressure is so light, your records last far longer on a Zenith. And you get the greatest stereo separation in a complete home console. And now, another new stereo achievement from Zenith. The solid-state 240W amplifier with an amazing 240 watts of peak music power. To bring you the most spectacular stereo sound ever heard from a complete home console. Exclusively at Zenith dealers in a selection of fine furniture cabinetry. At Zenith, the quality goes in before the name goes on.
Now, let's turn to the Billboard album chart and check out the 10 biggest LPs in the land this week. There are 3 former #1 LPs in this week's top 10. At number 7, the Jay Giles Band with Freeze Frame. And at number 6, the Go-Go's first album, Beauty and the Beat. And at number 4, Vangelis with a soundtrack to the movie Chariots of Fire. All 3 of those former #1 LPs. Now, leaping into the top 10 at number 3 and only its second week on the chart, Paul McCartney and Tug of War, his 11th top 10 album since he left the Beatles. Holding at number 1 for a second week, the 4-man supergroup Asia with their debut album. The most popular LP in the land is Asia. Now, our album spotlight song of the week. It's by a supergroup who drive the serious rock critics crazy with their heavy metal chords and their on-stage antics. But the fans just love them. Listen to some of the things the critics have said about Van Halen over the years. Rolling Stone magazine thought Van Halen sounded like a cross between, quote, the slave drummers on a Roman galley and the street crews of the New York City Department of Sanitation, unquote. And the Soho News in England called Van Halen the band you love to hate. Now, what does Van Halen think about all this criticism? Lead singer David Lee Roth says, I respect the press because they have good vocabularies. Otherwise, they're another set of bozos just like you and me. In our album spotlight, here's Van Halen from the LP Diver Down with the hit Pretty Woman. In our album spotlight, that's Van Halen with Pretty Woman.
What David Lee Roth said about the press, I don't know that I agree with David Lee Roth very often when he talks, but I agree with that.
That was
100%.
A perfect quote. You know, I love the press
great.
because of their vocabulary, but otherwise they're just a bunch of bozos like you
just
and
like
me.
you and me. In fact, I would say they're a little worse, maybe.
I love when a critic goes over the top to make a point.
That was Casey Kasem from American Top 10 from May the 23rd, 1982 on television.
That's almost exactly
that
a
was
week
pretty
ago.
close, by the way.
But when that negative review of Van Halen, a combination of the
it was terrible. It was not complimentary at all.
No,
I mean, it was and I'm like, even if you don't like Van Halen, that's over the top. They don't sound like that. I don't think I've said that about the worst band I've ever heard.
The sound of the trash cans being
terrible.
collected by New York
that
street
is terrible. Well, I've got a lot to get to before the top of the hour. I got to squeeze it all in. We noticed this. This week we lost another actor, Ray Liotta. I was a fan of Ray Liotta's. I thought he was a fantastic performer, fantastic actor. Mm-hmm. And he started his career in the 80s before jumping to feature films. This comes from MeTV staff who wrote this article, and I thought it was the best one that kind of sums it all up. Goodfellas made Liotta a star, supposedly. Yep. He had already proven his skill in late 80s movies like the heart-wrenching drama Dominic and Eugene with Amadeus star Tom Hulce and Jamie Lee Curtis. The baseball classic Field of Dreams. I keep forgetting he's in Field of Dreams.
Yep.
It is. I don't know why I forgot that.
Shoeless Joe Jackson.
Liotta played controversial Chicago White Sox player, like Alan said, Shoeless Joe Jackson. Shoeless.
He had a show.
Liotta had his start in Hollywood as Joey Perini in the NBC soap opera Another World. He appeared in 36 episodes of that soap from 1978 to 1981. He then starred in the TV movie Crazy Times about teenagers in Queens, New York in 1955. The project capitalized on the Happy Days TV show trend of nostalgia for drive-in rock and roll culture and 3 decades earlier, but I don't think it caught on. I think Happy Days had long since moved on from its prime. He also guest starred in a first-season episode of St. Elsewhere and won regular roles in 2 short-lived shows. The first show, Casablanca, was a small-screened attempt at a prequel to the famous film, which only lasted a few episodes. You remember Casablanca with Humphrey Bogart? Liotta played Sasha with Starsky and Hutch's David Soul as the Humphrey Bogart character, Rick Blaine, and Hector Elizondo as Captain Louis Renault in that. So they tried to make a TV show out of Casablanca. I never saw that. I don't think that one's one that was like maybe not quite a season and got by me and I didn't see it. 2 years later, Liotta was cast in Our Family Honor, a modern Romeo and Juliet about a crime family and a family of cops whose children fall in love. Liotta played a police officer and friend of the law enforcement family in that. Though he's most famous as a gangster, Liotta played many roles on both sides of the law. He was Officer Pete Davis in the 1992 film Unlawful Entry, which was great. I remember that movie, and armed Captain T.C. Doyle in 1985's Operation Dumbo Drop, the movie about the Vietnam guys dropping the elephant in Vietnam or whatever. Right. And who else is in that? Danny Glover was in that, too, I think. He was also in 90s movies, Karina, Unforgettable, and Copland. Copland, for me, is my favorite Ray Liotta role, the guy he played in Copland. I thought that was the best role that he ever portrayed. That was with Sylvester Stallone and Robert De Niro and Harvey Keitel, directed by James Mangold, the guy that's directing the new Indiana Jones movies. Yep. Directed Copland. Great movie. Loved Copland.
It's a good Sylvester Stallone film.
It is. And to me, if people ask me what's the best acting job Sylvester Stallone ever did, I'm like, it's Copland. I think that's the best thing he ever did. In 2005, Liotta won an Emmy Award for his guest spot on ER. He would appear in both movies and shows for the rest of his career. He headlined the cop series Shades of Blue with Jennifer Lopez and appeared in films such as Killing Them Softly, Muppets Most Wanted, and Marriage Story. He will always be remembered for his incredible performances and iconic characters. He was only 67 years old.
Such a shame. And I know they haven't really released the cause of death yet, but it's still... 67 doesn't seem as old as it used to be.
Each year I get older. I'm 56 now. I really think that. I'm
not even saying that for us, although that may be part of it. But,
it does play into it for me.
You know,
it really
50
does.
years ago, if somebody lived to their late 60s, well, that was the average lifespan. But people are living to their 80s and 90s now. So
isn't that odd? And you remember watching television shows of the 50s and the 60s where the parents always looked like the grandparents. I'm like, you look so much older. Mm-hmm. And when I looked at pictures of Carol O'Connor and All in the Family, and he was the age I am now, when I look at him where he's 56 and All in the Family, I'm like, I don't look anywhere near that old as Archie Bunker is in this episode. He looked a lot older than me back then. That's the way I was.
It's almost like people at a certain time, they aged real fast, and then they stayed that look for like 50 straight years.
And a lot of those shows made fun of people. They're like, oh, you're single still at 30. You're going to be an old maid. You need to hurry up and get married. I'm 30. Now you're like, 30 is when you died in Logan's Run. He made 30 really old. Like, no, 30 wasn't old. I thought it was old when I was 20.
Life's over at 30.
I was 20, I thought it was old. It is Memorial Day weekend. Maybe I can squeeze in some of these because I'm really running out of time. Things you didn't know, or maybe you did know about Memorial Day, which noted a few years ago, Memorial Day isn't just an excuse to take a long weekend and loaf around eating grilled meats, which we do that, but although those are certainly among the reasons to have the holiday, but not the main reason. So before you head out for your barbecues and your pool parties, here are some facts about Memorial Day you may or may not know. It was originally called Decoration Day. You know that because you've reported out, I think, on Bartow's Morning News. Honor the deceased soldiers who would decorate graves for their fallen comrades with flowers, flags, and wreaths. Hence, Decoration
Day. It was right
Day.
after Civil War.
Although Memorial Day became its official title in the 1880s, the holiday wouldn't legally become a Memorial Day until, and this is much later than I thought it was, it's 1967. I was a year old when that happened. It wasn't always celebrated the last day of May. After the Civil War, General John A. Logan, commander of the Chief of the Grand Army of the Republic, called the holiday commemorating fallen soldiers to be observed on May the 30th. But due to the Uniform Monday Holiday Act, which took effect in 1971, Memorial Day was moved to the last Monday of May to ensure long weekends. Some groups like the Veterans Organization, American Legion, have been working to restore the original date to set Memorial Day apart and pay proper tribute to the servicemen and women who sacrificed their lives defending our nation.
There are a number of holidays that when you look at why they are on Monday,
right,
is because Congress wanted a paid 3-day vacation.
And that's the wrong reason. Did you know it's legally required to observe a national moment of remembrance? In December of 2000, Congress passed a law requiring Americans to pause at 3 p.m. local time on Memorial Day to remember and honor the fallen. And like I say, they're not going to come pick you up if you don't do it, but it is nice to know that they made it enough importance to do that. Let's see more. I'm not going to get to all these. But Waterloo, New York is considered the birthplace of Memorial Day. According to Waterloo's website, in 1966, Congress unanimously passed a resolution to officially recognize Waterloo as the birthplace of Memorial Day. However, it remains a contentious debate, with other towns like Boalsburg, Pennsylvania, claiming the title of birthplace of Memorial Day as well. Well, we may never know. Let them battle it out. Why can't they both be the same? Let's recognize both of them and keep it that way. Did you know that more than 36 million will travel at least 50 miles from home this Memorial Day? That's according to, where do they get those facts? AAA.
AAA.
They always go to AAA to get that. So check it out. Look up facts you may not know of Memorial Day. I got like 6 or 7 more here, but I just don't have time to squeeze them in. But there are facts that you may or may not know about Memorial Day. You know, read them and find them out. There's one that had like 30 facts, and I'm like, I can't do 30. But, yeah, I think it's great. That's why we talked about – I wonder if it's because today is National Hamburger Day leading up to that. And when you're talking about what do you have on Memorial Day when you are cooking out, hot dogs or hamburgers? I'm like Ginger or Marianne in Gilligan's Island, why not both? Because if you got both, I'm ready to go.
If there are hot dogs and hamburgers, I will have one of each on my plate. You
know what I like with a hot dog or a hamburger on Memorial Day? You can fix anything as a side you want. Potato salad, baked beans, whatever. But if I've got, at the very minimum, the hamburger the way we talked about fixing it, and we've already talked about in the past how we like our hot dogs. There's so many ways to do it. If I got the hamburger with some either the ridge chips like Ruffles or something like that, the ones with the ridges, it's just the ones I like. If I got a hot dog with those, I'm happy. I can be totally fine with that.
Ironic, that's exact. Well, I didn't have, but I had the hamburger, but I had the ridged chips yesterday.
If they got ridges, I don't care if they're the store brand. Which now, have you seen the prices of some of the name brands? You want to get the generic store brands of chips right now.
I get store brand chips. Yes,
I mean they do taste. If you put one in front of me, some of them I'm not going. I can tell the difference between certain generic store brands and national brands of some things. Right. But not a lot of things. And for me, I'm going to save money and get them. Well, it is Memorial Day.
Are we done?
We're done. That's it. Did you not know it was ticking up? Wow, it snuck up on you like a sneak attack.
Okay. That would be true.
Take a moment to remember all those that paid the ultimate sacrifice on Memorial Day on Monday. It's BK on the air.
Don't ever tell a lie. Say your prayers at night before you go to bed. And so, as our friends south of the border could say, adios, amigos.